Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my presentation on inclusive education for 7th and 8th grade. To begin, we will be going over two disabilities. I have chosen ASD and ADHD, and we will begin with ASD. So, ASD, or Autism Spectrum Disorder. What does this mean? So, the National Institute of Mental Health defines autism spectrum disorder as a neurological and development disorder that affects how people interact with others, communicate, learn, or behave. Although autism can be diagnosed at any age, it is described as a developmental disorder because symptoms generally appear in the first 2 years of life. So what does this mean? Students with ASD may have problems with social communication and interaction, as well as displaying repetitive behaviors. Students may also have different ways of paying attention in your class that may seem disrespectful at the time, but it is not their intention. So, what does ASD, how does it affect development? So, some of the symptoms that you may see in the classroom are, as I said, repetitive behavior. Students with ASD may display behaviors or interests that seem unusual to their peers and teachers. This can include repeating words or phrases, lining up toys, objects, getting upset by minor changes in routine, having obsessive interests, and following the same routine day in and day out. Their social communication skills can be challenged. They can have challenges with that. They may not be sharing the same interests as their peers, not showing appropriate facial expressions, doesn't notice when others are hurt or uncomfortable by what they are doing. Other characteristics that they may be displaying are delayed language skills, unusual moods, emotional reactions, and delayed cognitive learning skills. So how would you support a student with ASD? So every student with ASD that crosses the path of an educator is unique, and there is no set way to support these students. These methods that I have here may be useful. First, collaborate with more experienced educators. As a new educator myself, that's what I do all the time. Their wisdom and just knowledge is a treasure trove that you should use. Use differentiated instruction, partner with the parents, positive reinforcement. Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive and what they have accomplished. Foster good peer relationships in your classroom and create an inclusive and engaging classroom for them to work in. Our second disability is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. So what is this? So again, the National Institute of Mental Health defines ADHD as a developmental disorder characterized by an ongoing pattern of one or more of the following types of symptoms: inattention, such as having difficulty paying attention, keeping on task, or staying organized; hyperactivity, such as often moving around, including during inappropriate times, feeling restless or talking excessively; and impulsivity, such as interrupting, intruding on others, or having trouble waiting their turn. So how does ADHD affect their development and how they operate in the classroom and the larger school body? So it can have effects on their self-esteem. Students with ADHD can have a significant effect on their self-esteem due to difficulties they may have focusing in class. This can result in poor grades. They may experience feelings of frustration and inadequacy as a result of this. Emotionally, students with ADHD may experience difficulties regulating their emotions. This can lead to sudden outbursts when something has upset them. Socially, students with ADHD may find it harder to pick up on social cues, and as a result, they may feel ostracized by the larger student body and may draw into themselves. And academically, they have a harder time focusing in class, completing assignments, staying organized. So a lot of checkups are good for students with ADHD. Speaking of things good for students with ADHD, supporting students with ADHD, the National Education Association has identified 10 strategies to help teach and support students with ADHD. Build their confidence in themselves. Create a culture of success in your classroom. Be flexible with your instruction, in other words, differentiated instruction. Break your tasks into smaller steps. Develop good relationships with more experienced educators. Track your students' progress so you know where they are if they need help. Staying organized, staying on task, so that they can always have the proper support that they need. Don't be afraid to ask for assistive technologies from your school, but also don't let technology replace personal instruction. ADHD students are easily distracted, and sometimes placing them in front of a screen may feel like the way out, but that you should never replace your personal instruction. Get to know and work with the parents closely, and finally, don't hesitate to ask for help from your peers. Thank you for listening to my presentation.